Tomas.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm sorry I was late. I had to run. For my other class, they let me out late, so
No problem. Thanks for meeting like this. Good thing that we don't miss it at all. That's great.
yeah.
How are you doing, my friend?
Good. Yeah.
What class were you running from?
From come on, theory, music theory and application. I don't know. Yeah, theory.
Good, good, good. What's the formula for a major scale?
It's wait. I know it in Spanish. I just have to translate it in. Ho ha ho ho. It's ho have ho have ho.
Almost. Whole, whole.
Ho have ho have.
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
That's why we have the sound do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Great. What's the formula for a dominant seven chord?
A dominant seven chord is well the first, the third, and the fifth, and the seventh flat.
Yes, yes. Very good. Did we go over a chromatic scale last week?
No, but I did kind of look it up like as homework, more or less.
Cool. Yeah, let me see what you did.
I practiced some fingering patterns, the ones that were on the minor tweaks book.
Cool, cool. Some finger exercises.
Yeah,
You watched those videos?
yeah, I did.
Very nice. They're nothing earth shattering, but boy, do they work.
Was it? Wait. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking you could even just do one finger exercise for like a whole week.
Okay. I did like all the finger exercise, like just for
You
one
did them
finger.
all like an exercise.
Yeah, I did it all like an exercise, but just like for one finger. So like,
Let me see your left hand and sure run through whatever you did so that that's all precise and practiced the way you want it.
let me just open up the book just so I know exactly the order.
Oh, sure. And I wasn't expecting it like that, so it's going to be a fun thing for me. And then let me just see the top of your neck there so I can see your hands.
I said
Nice.
I did like here.
So you want to do the alternating picking,
Ah, okay.
and you want to do them on all the strings.
Like
Well, it explains it in the video and it explained it in the book description, but you want to keep your fingers like perpendicular to the frets, not coming in on the sides like this. Don't come in on the sides. Just come here. And if you even started on this one, just use your fingertips and do the alternating picking like a. And if you do 10 or 20 of these, see you're still on an angle like this, and I want you to be kind of more straight. Just ready to play, real close to the fretboard. And then you can move on to string 2. You can go into the 3, sure. We could do 3 on each set. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, and then don't put a vibrato at the end of everything.
okay. Yeah,
Like
no,
be aware of when you want to use vibrato and when you don't. Don't let your fingers just do things that you don't even know that they're doing.
yeah, no, because what I did for practice, I just did like, and
That's
then
kind of fun,
yeah,
like a song.
yeah.
Cool. Now, did we set your intonation?
And no,
And did you read that section?
I didn't know what section it was. I just read like 2 chapters. Or
Oh yeah. What'd you learn?
no, for the first chapter was like the fingering and stuff.
Yeah.
Just check exactly the name of the chapter I read.
Yeah, but if anything stood out to you that you didn't know already, what was it?
No, for example, I really liked the part where you said, well, the book said like practice like each style of your favorite guitarist, and then you have like all of these like a library of sounds. Of
Yeah, because you think like
Yeah.
you have a really nice accent when you speak,
Hmm.
right? So if I wanted to sound like you, what would I have to do to sound like you? I'd have to listen to you and try to say some of the same words the same way
Yeah.
and try to say it at the same volume, with the same accent, with the same pitch.
Hmm.
If I say, you're saying, uh, I want to play, practice this, and I say, I want to play, practice this, you say, that's the wrong pitch,
Yeah.
right? I want to match even the pitch and the rhythm of how fast you say it, how slow you say it. If you slurred into it, if you know, like did a slide and made it sound exciting, right? So if you were in a film and somebody said, your line, Tomas, your line in this film is to say, close the door. How
Hmm.
would you say the phrase, close the door,
Like close the door.
right?
Yeah.
Like, close the door. I could say, like, close the door, or like it's almost a question you were asking.
Hmm.
But there's infinite ways to say it, isn't there? It's
Yeah.
like, who am I talking to? Am I mad? Am I angry? Am I happy? What scene am I in? What does it mean? What's
Hmm.
happening before or after it? Like, where's it going? Am I acting sexy? Am I talking to a lover? Am I talking to an enemy? Am I talking to my father? You know, like, how do I say close the door? You could say it infinite ways.
Hmm.
So when we speak and play guitar, we all just, blah, 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 you know, our fingers just want to do what they want to do. And that's great. They can have as much fun as they want. You want limber fingers that play all kinds of things and can play at various tempos. But when you're thinking in terms of building your own style, it's like learning how to speak. You listen to your aunts and uncles, you listen to your parents, maybe older siblings. If you have a sense of humor or if you're repeating anybody's jokes, it's because of the people around you and your friends. Sometimes you come up with little phrases and things that your friends say, you know, so like you're building a repertoire of how to speak and interact in the world. It's the same way, like you said, you liked thinking in terms of building some stylistic ways of playing that note or that phrase or that rhythm from some of your favorite guitar players. Because if we have Eric Clapton play something versus, you know, Jeff Beck versus Stevie Ray Vaughan versus Hendrix versus Wes Montgomery, it's all going to sound different, even if it's the same rhythms and the same notes.
Hmm.
So what makes it sound like them is personality and their touch and the way they play. And if you listen for those subtleties, you make your playing really big.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool because you're learning how to talk. You're learning how to talk through this thing. Like if I say, "Bram, bram, bam, 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 bam," but then I go to find it on the guitar, it comes out dink, 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 not bram, bram, bam, 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 bam. How am I going to get it to do that? I gotta give it some stuff. What is that stuff? It's all kinds of articulation and phrasing and emotion. That's the most important thing. It's excitement, it's emotion, it's life. It's not, it's an exercise. I just have to practice it. You know, you want to always infuse life and some magic into what you're playing because we're all just doing the same thing. We're playing this thing with the same six strings. We all have the same notes and the same chords that we have access to. So the difference is what you bring to it. You make it sound like magic and sound cool, even if it's a stupid exercise, or it sounds like a stupid exercise because you're not invested in it.
Hmm.
You know, you're not caring about it. Cool. Show me that chromatic scale.
The chromatic scale.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the I searched for the exercises myself. What I found was like, oh wait, it doesn't sound. It was.
That's nice. And you can come back down, just do the alternating picking with it. That's a fun fingering.
Here. Yeah, it takes me a bit. Ah.
Ah, it's like the last note always gets electrocuted and we don't know why. But how much pick are you holding out? It looks like it's a real effort to try to do this pick.
I'm
You
quite
could
a
even
bit like
hold
this.
less. Hold less of it out. And did we talk about bowing and alternating hands of playing drums the same as alternate picking?
No. Mm.
Well, this up and down thing, it's like, what difference does it make which way I play? But you might have seen it from that other video. Did you watch that video on the alternating picking?
I okay, no, I did. I think so. Yeah, it was the two videos you sent us.
Yeah, I was talking
Okay.
about,
Ah, yeah.
remember? And so it's much more aggressive if it's all down. You can almost see the face, like you got to make the right face to play it. Jump in there. But if it's just too nice,
It doesn't sound.
it's not the same, right? So downstrokes are stronger because they have gravity behind them and they have emphasis, and you can give it an accent, or you can dig into it more than an upstroke. And so this is the same as the strong and weak hands of playing drums. Do you play any drums?
Like only if I have to.
If you have to,
Yeah,
because
maybe, but not very good.
they say sometimes that one hand is the downbeats and one is the offbeats. So you're like da 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 you know. So when you do something like that and you're playing just the offbeats, you're just doing the one hand
Mhm.
because that's the movement, but that's the hand that you play. And it's the same with a violin. There's always one person that's in charge of the whole violin section, and they decide how they're going to phrase everything, and they tell everybody to do it the same way so that they play like one person. The
Mhm.
whole section gets to play like one person, and that phrasing becomes incredibly powerful and strong. The thing that they're saying becomes very powerful because they're all expressing it the same way.
Mhm.
Now, what that means to you is you get to skip strings and actually have control over your pick so that you can play anything you want, right?
Mhm.
You could even practice this, just sort of down on the top string, bottom string rather, and then up on the top string.
Kind of.
But you don't want your hand to be doing extra motions, like try to get your arm moving from like your whole arm moving. So it's just down, up effortlessly. You don't have to think about where you're placing your pick and when you're doing it up or when you're doing it down. Your hand's just passing by, even if it's just passing by like this, like a metronome. And that way you get to feel where your downbeats are and where your ands are. And if somebody's trying to get you to read something, you can sync this with your internal clock as you think and count 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and bum, bum, bum,
Mhm.
bum, 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 bum. You can feel the whole rhythm in your whole sensibilities as you're counting. And if you tap your foot too and get your foot in sync with your hand, then you know where you are. It's the same like, I mean, this is like a little conducting thing for us
Mhm.
because they're trying to get us to learn this. But if you're doing this, 1 and 2 and you don't have to think, do I come in here? It's like you only come in when you come back up. So you got to do a few downstrokes first before you come up on the end of 3, right? But if you're paying attention, then you know where the end of 3 is. If you're just doing this and not counting, it could be anywhere. They all sound the same. La 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 la. I'm playing rhythms. No, you're not. You got to count and figure out when it starts and when it finishes. Otherwise, you don't know where it is. It could be anywhere,
Okay.
you know?
Mm.
So if you played one note and just did that rhythm, I'm playing a G.
Like.
So play what you hear. I'm going to play a rhythm. Nice. And it doesn't have to necessarily be short. It's just that I stopped playing. So even that is an articulation. If I say do it like this, those are short,
Mhm.
right? So we're playing like a staccato. But
Okay.
if it's,
Mhm.
then it would be like I want it legato. And none of this stuff makes any sense. Like if you're playing it and you're like, yeah, so what? So what? But if it's your song, it's
Yeah.
going to drive you crazy if somebody plays it wrong. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you have a sense of what it should be in your head, and you're like, you're playing it too short. You're playing it too long. You're not supposed to bend there. You're a little out of tune. You're a little too fast. You're a little too ahead of the beat. You're a little too behind. You're gonna want them to put it where you want them to put it. So like be mindful of that. I had a violin player come over to my house and she plays with the Boston Pops and she teaches at Berkeley. And I wrote down a melody for her and I didn't write in the bowing. I just said, you know, here's this melody. And she said, well, how would you like me to play this? Because I could play it like this, and I could play it like this, and I could play it like this. She played it 14 different ways, and each one had a different emotion. Like, close the door, close the door, close the door, you know,
Yeah.
close the door, close the door. You know, like there's just all these different ways you can say it. So how are you going to say it? And what's going to be your language? How is Tomas going to be distinguishable from any other guitar player? They're going to go, oh, that's definitely TM. Listen, you can tell it's him, you know, because all these ways that you copy the best moments of all the players that you like makes you a different player than me. It's your personality versus my personality. It's your sense of touch. So it's very important. I find this stuff incredibly important. And I really don't like when people are just playing super fast and super sloppy and have no concern for the tone or the sound of their amp.
Yeah.
You know, it's all muffled or so distorted you can't distinguish the pitches. There's lots of ways to play fast and bad. We're trying to figure out ways to play fun and good, right? Yeah. So what's cool and interesting to you this week?
Like to practice in the class.
Yeah, in this class, in any class, how's this week going for you?
Being good. I mean, okay, there's this thing I wanted. Because yesterday I was practicing with, well, I was playing with some friends, and I wanted to learn maybe more about like a chord phrasing. I don't know, like playing different like things with the chords, like you know.
Like little ways to pick different notes within the chord.
Yeah. Because it goes with the alternate picking. Okay.
Sure, definitely.
Well, the skipping string. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to maybe work on that or learn how to do that better.
Okay, so you liked when you heard me doing the...
Yeah.
Well, with rhythm, I think a lot of times, if you can get down this sort of string skipping thing, and like feel the distance, then you know when you play a chord, pick a chord. What chord would you like to play?
I don't know. A.
Sure, A. We know we have this. So we have some of those notes. We could always even just slide into it. Right? That's kind of fun. That's like different pitches in a different way. But you could, right? It's kind of giving you this D9 sus4 sound too, but that might be fun to, like you were doing, lifting some fingers and picking and keeping some down. So you could, and that might be fun. But there's also, I don't have to strum all 6 strings the whole time. So besides melody, there's letting them all ring versus making them all short by releasing this and giving it a breath. Right? And then there's also just playing the low strings and the high strings. So I could, and then there's if I'm going to let the strings sound or if I'm going to do a percussive sound. So I can, so it's not just all 6 all the time. It's a, so you could practice doing those different percussive sounds in between the when you play, like sounds. So it would be consecutive 16th notes, but sometimes there would be the X's marked down in there for like a percussive sound rather than a pitch. And if I was going to do a melody, I guess I could go. but I'm switching the chord there. I'm going from A to A7. So it just depends on if the song needs a change of a chord there. If you're just vamping on an A and you add too many notes, if it's not your song, somebody might get upset, like, why are you switching the chords? Like, it depends on the context
Mhm.
where you're at with that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's fun. You could try a few things if you have any thoughts on it. It'd be cool to hear your questions.
Yeah, because I never was able like to, I don't know. It always it was it was always very hard to me like to create like kind of like funky rhythms. I don't know, like
It's harder to play rhythm than lead in some ways.
yeah.
Nobody wants to play rhythm. Everybody wants to play lead. Everybody wants to get up to bat, right?
Mhm.
Nobody wants to play the field and go catch, But somebody has to play the song. Somebody has to hold it down so that somebody feels like playing over it, right? So if you can become a really good groove player as well as a good lead player, people are going to want to play with you because you make them sound good,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, guitar used to be part of the rhythm section, not a lead instrument much at all.
Mhm.
We were part of the rhythm section. But I like playing both. So does Pat Metheny. Pat Metheny loves playing rhythm.
Yeah, I've always like I always played more of a lead guitar, more of like by I have to play lead guitar rather than
Right?
yeah, I wanted to play. I
Sure.
actually I kind of enjoy more taking the groove, but I've never practiced it as much.
Yeah. So what songs do you play that have a cool rhythm in it?
Where I would have to search because like yeah, no, for most songs I've learned recently, I've learned like the solos and stuff, not really the chords.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you could always pick one of the ones you already know how to play the lead and then see what the background's like. See if the background has some cool part for you to learn as well.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was thinking, for example, uh, some I was listening to like some very heavy like Motley Crue, and they have like some very cool like guitar riffs, but they're like rhythm guitars, like ta na na ta ta ra 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 ta ta.
Yeah, I would learn the parts that you like a lot because if you can experience that in your hands,
Mhm.
you'll write stuff like that
Yeah.
once you know what it is. Like John Lennon used to get disappointed that George always had all the leads. So he came up with, it gave him something to do instead of just, like he wanted to do something else. So it's kind of along those lines. But I like even mixtures of it. Like sometimes I do pick and fingers and a,
Like hybrid picking.
yeah, I was doing the pick and fingers.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, what's interesting is like when you play this chord, you have, right, if you just play these two strings and then these two strings, but hold down the whole chord, these fingers can pick just top string and the third. And whether you're finger picking or picking with a hybrid pick and fingers, you can mix it up of what you're emphasizing. It depends on the arrangement and what you want. But there's all kinds of stuff in between, right? Because as you're learning to do triads across the fretboard now for your proficiency, you've got this is an A chord, that's an A chord, that's an A chord, that's an A chord. So you could even, and I could even just, and if I was working with some little bit of overdrive and stuff, I can make that sound pretty cool. And it's really a combination of eighth and 16th. But like I said, not necessarily playing all 6 strings. Sometimes I'm just, you know, you make it up as you go along, really, unless someone literally writes out what they want you to do, then you read it and play the right thing. But if it's for your own song, sky's the limit. Have fun.
Okay.
The Beatles have a couple of really good rhythm tunes, even just for voicings, just to play various types of voicings. There's a song called I'm Happy Just to Dance With You that is sort of a uh, and I like the voice leading because that's John playing all that rhythm, but he's playing, you hear that. You're not hearing all 6 strings again all the time, right? So there's a part involved with it. There's some thought and there's some arrangement and voice leading and all those things just make it sound really tasty, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
This is fun stuff. You know, I can send you this recording.
Ooh, yeah, I'm down. Yes.
Yeah, and you could always record your lessons even in our lessons.
Okay.
Just remember all the crazy things I say.
Yeah,
To try them. I mean, it's not like you got to remember everything I say, but if something stands out to you,
just like this.
it's always good for me to know what that is so that we can elaborate on that instead of me going off in a million other directions, you know.
Okay, yeah.
And then you could always put the video on YouTube, you know, put our names on it and stuff, and other people can enjoy it too, because we're doing a really cool thing here.
Yeah,
It's coming out good today, don't you think?
yeah, I do. Thank you.
I mean, I'm joking around, but yeah, there's some good stuff here.
Mhm.
Now, can you do this other chromatic scale pattern? There's one that I was going to teach you that starts on A if you want to, and just 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
and alternating picking. I can tell even with my eyes not looking exactly at you that you were doing all downstrokes. And then when you go to the next string, you do 2 notes with your first finger.
Like.
Well, you
Oh.
yeah, you play 2 notes there, stretching because the chromatic scale is every single note, right? And we're not just doing it 1 octave. For the test, we're doing it for 2 octaves. So we stretch up with the first finger to get this on a few strings, except for the 3rd string. So we do it like this.
Okay.
So you want to come down with your 4th finger, stretches 2 notes on those.
So. Okay.
Keep speeding up though. Okay, so here's the thing.
Mhm.
You know when we're tuning, it's a 4th from here to here and then a 4th from here to here. But
Ah,
then there's a 3rd from here to
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So that's why you don't have to do the stretch coming down. But when you come down, you do a 4th finger stretch. See how my 4th finger's doing 2 notes?
Okay.
And here's the thing too. Each one of these lines we know is a fret, right? This literally are the frets. But when we call fret or position, we're
Mhm.
saying the space in between each of these things, right? So when I'm here, I'm actually in 5th position
Mhm.
because, not because my first finger's here, because my first finger could be there. I'm still in
Okay.
1st position. It's the 1 fret before your 2nd finger means what position you're in. And why this is important is if you're going to play in position this particular pattern, it means this finger never leaves the 6th fret, this finger never leaves the 7th fret.
Okay.
The reason playing in position is important is for when you're learning how to read. So if I'm just playing a scale, I can keep my eyes on the music. If I know all those notes and I'm in the key of A, I know where my notes are. I don't have to keep looking back at my hand and looking back at the music. So position playing is really helpful for reading. And right now position playing is cool because we could play this scale starting on A with our 1st finger and come back down. We can go from our 2nd finger same pattern. But see, I started on my second finger and I ended on my second finger. Try it. Try doing it from your first finger and only go up to A. Like pretend we're doing it for the test. 2 octaves. One, this A to this A is 1 octave. This A to this A is the second octave. Just play the whole chromatic scale up to A and start coming back down right away.
Okay.
Just from A onto your first finger.
Wait,
Well, you would use the stretch and do 2 notes, but you'd start and go up first. You wouldn't just come down.
yeah, yeah. I'm just kind of getting the feel.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
No vibrato.
Ah. That's the
So let's go slower. And you're actually shifting all over the place, right? So if we're going to say that A is under our first finger,
okay.
then these 2 don't shift. Remember, just keep this hand, just keep your hand locked. The only thing you're going to do is stretch with these 2 guys. Your whole hand isn't going to move this time.
Mm-hmm. Like.
Yes. And now 2 finger stretch. I mean, a 4th finger playing 2 notes.
Oh.
You got it. You got it.
Dun, 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 dun,
Try not to do the vibrato though, because you want to know when you're doing it and when you're not, right?
yeah, it's just like
It happens.
Yeah.
Well, you want to know. It's like, am I doing it because I'm being mindful and I really want it there? Or am I doing it and I don't even realize I'm doing it and then somebody's not even going to want it in their song, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't belong everywhere. It's really nice when it's someplace special, not on the end of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people come in and play their whole proficiency and that vibrato is at the end of everything and you're like, ah. Try it from your second finger. Do the A chromatic scale starting on your second finger. Yeah, so if you started on A with your second finger, you should land on A with your second finger.
Ah, on A? Here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Ah.
You almost did, yeah. So,
Ah.
yeah, it's the same pattern going down. Just feels a little different because you start on the second finger. Good, good, good. Yeah, now what you want to do is play very slowly and very evenly so that every note gets its same value and importance. And if you do it with a metronome and don't speed up, you'll actually have more time to play than you think, because we all do this. We go. We all want to get faster because we can feel it escalating. It's going up and then coming down. We go, oh, it's coming down real fast. But as soon as we play it too fast, it like crashes and falls off the track kind of thing. So you want to keep it in control. Keep your fingers perpendicular to the neck. So you're not doing this because this makes it harder coming in on the side like this. Right? If it's this way, you're like ready to play. And if you keep your fingers very close to the fretboard, they don't come off too high. They're right there ready to play again. And if you keep this nice and even, it's just effortless. It's clean, even, and no one's testing you on the speed of it, so they want it to sound good, you know. Yeah, so work on that from every finger. That is a good thing to do. And read the section in the ebook, if you can find it, on setting your intonation. And then we'll check your intonation in person next week.
For that book, it's in the minor tweaks book or in the.
It's in the minor tweaks book, yeah.
Okay, do you know which page or anything? I read the sound and tone, but I wasn't
You'll
sure which part was
flip through.
the.
It's a short enough book. Do you have the actual book or the PDF?
I have the PDF.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to look to see if the page changes, but it's pretty close by.
Okay.
And then if you have questions, you could look it up on YouTube as well. Everybody's showing you how to set your intonation. But it's not enough to just tune to the tuner. We can talk about that next week as to why. That's cool. Now, what pages did you do in Modern Method?
The modern method, I just got it today. I wasn't able to find it last time.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
they have
but
it
I wasn't able to find the classical
you
bass style guitar.
still don't have that one?
Yeah, they didn't have it in the bookstore.
It just drives me crazy. I've been teaching here 38 years and they could never have the books we need on the day we need them. They always ask me, which books do you want? And I tell them how many to order, and they never have them. I just don't understand it. I really don't.
Yeah, because before last class, I also searched for for this book, and they
Yeah.
didn't have it either. They just had the second volume. So
Oh,
I wasn't
wow.
able to buy it. I just was able to buy it today. I just found it.
Well, I'll email you 2 pieces from the classical book, and if you do piece number 2, which is called Allegro, it's going to
Okay.
blow your mind how great your groove is going to become.
Okay,
'Cause it's
perfect.
all about skipping strings, and then once you can do that, you can play anything. Funk, reggae, it's just fantastic because
Okay.
it gives you pick control,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to just play cool stuff, but then they don't have the training to actually be able to do it. This gives it to you without even thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so good to see you, and it's so cute to see you without your mask.
Yeah. Okay.
So thanks so much for jumping on here today like this. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but it's nice
No,
to
it's,
see.
it's okay. It's really no problem.
And I'll send you the recording.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
What do you think? Should we put this on YouTube? Because this was pretty cool.
Yeah, I found it cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't mind if it's on my page or
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah, I
And
don't mind
both?
at all.
Okay,
Cool.
let's do it. Sample lesson. You're
Thanks.
the best. See you next
You
week.